Why does life seem so unfair sometimes? Why do people who lie, cheat, and hurt others seem to succeed, while those who are kind, honest, and helpful often suffer in silence? Have you ever helped someone with all your heart, only to be ignored, hurt, or used in return? Imagine a woman who always puts others before herself. She helps neighbors, feeds stray animals, speaks politely with everyone, and never demands anything. But when she needs help, no one shows up. Why does this happen? Why does goodness feel like a curse in today's world? Welcome to Wisdom Woven, a place where deep questions meet peaceful answers. If you've ever felt like your kindness is being punished, this video series is for you. Here, you'll learn what Buddhism says about this painful truth and how to find peace in the middle of unfairness. There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your one click supports us more than you can imagine. According to Buddhism, suffering is not always a punishment, and being good is not always about gaining rewards. Life doesn't follow our human idea of fairness. Instead, it follows the deeper law of cause and effect, karma. But karma is not instant. A kind act today may not bring happiness tomorrow, and a cruel act might not show consequences immediately. That's why we feel confused. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes not just from our actions now, but also from past lives. The good person who suffers today may be paying off debts they no longer remember. This doesn't mean we should stop being kind. In fact, this is where true wisdom begins, knowing that being good is not a transaction, but a way of living rightly, no matter the result. In this first part, you'll see how Buddhism gently explains that suffering is not a punishment for being good. It is often part of a deeper process that our eyes can't see, but our heart can understand with time. Keep watching, each part will uncover more. Let's walk this path together. Karma misunderstood, not punishment, but reflection. Sit down for a while, child. You carry pain in your heart. I can see that. You wonder why bad things happen even when you do everything right. You think, I've never hurt anyone. I always try to be kind. Then why do I suffer? This question, though simple, has shaken even the wisest. Let me tell you something. What you are experiencing is not a punishment. It is a reflection. Many people hear the word karma and feel fear. They think karma means punishment from some invisible force. But that's not true. Karma is not here to hurt you. It is here to help you see more clearly. In Buddhism, karma is simply the law of cause and effect. Just like if you plant a seed, a tree will grow if the conditions are right. But the tree does not grow overnight, does it? This is what people forget. A seed you planted many years ago, or even in a life before this one, can grow into something now. And not every seed brings flowers. Some seeds grow into thorny bushes. But that does not mean you're a bad person. It just means your garden is mixed. You are now clearing out old weeds that were hidden deep beneath the soil. Let me explain with a small story. There was once a kind man who gave water to thirsty travelers. He built a well on the edge of a dusty road. Many came, drank, and left. But one day, a traveler drank the water and cursed the man. He accused him of poisoning the well. The man was heartbroken. Why would someone hate me when I helped him? He asked. Later, a wise monk came and said, long ago, in a life you don't remember, you denied this man water when he begged you for it. He died in thirst. Today, you offered him water. You changed the karma, but a bitter drop remained. You washed most of it away. You see, karma isn't always about this life. It is not personal revenge. It's more like balancing the ripples in a pond. A stone dropped long ago can still send waves today. Now, some people ask me, Master, if karma is real, why do bad people live so easily? Why do cruel people enjoy power, money, and comfort while good ones suffer? I smile when I hear this. Not because the question is foolish, but because it comes from a wounded heart. Imagine a tree full of rotten fruit. It looks full, but when the wind comes, the fruit falls, and the tree becomes bare. A kind person may appear to struggle now, like a tree in winter. But underneath, strong roots are growing. The tree of goodness grows slowly, but when it blossoms, it gives shade and fruit for many. Karma doesn't chase people like a guard with a stick. It follows like a shadow, silent and constant. If a cruel person seems to enjoy life, remember, they are only collecting. One day, what they've given to the world will come back to them. It always does. But karma is patient. It doesn't rush. That's what makes it just. Let me tell you something important. Good people suffer more not because they are cursed, but because they are ready. They are capable of handling deeper truths. A soft heart breaks more easily, yes. But that same heart also feels joy more deeply. The universe gives difficult lessons only to those who could turn pain into wisdom. You may ask, then should I stop doing good? No, dear one, never. That's like asking if you should stop breathing because the air sometimes feels heavy. Doing good is your nature. It's who you are, not what you're owed for. If a candle burns and lights a room, it may lose itself, but it also removes darkness. Would you call the candle foolish? And yet, even good people sometimes suffer because of misunderstanding karma. Some people think, I've done many good things, so nothing bad should happen to me. But that thinking turns kindness into a business deal. True goodness asks for nothing. It just gives. You must also remember this. Karma is not only shaped by action, but also by intention. If you help someone to look good in front of others, the result is not the same as helping them from a place of love. The world may not see your intention, but karma does. In the same way, pain can purify your intentions. It shows you what matters. It cuts away pride, ego, and expectation. When you suffer, you're not becoming less, you are becoming real. Many great masters suffered deeply. Even the Buddha faced betrayal, hunger, and hatred. But he didn't run from it. He sat with it, understood it, and transformed it into compassion. He did not say, "Why me?" He said, "This is also part of the path." So when life hurts, don't think you're being punished. Think of it like rain falling on dry land. It feels rough, but it helps seeds inside you grow. Suffering can make you softer, kinder, more awake. The pain you carry may be a gate to wisdom you didn't know you had. You are not alone. Every being carries some old karma. Every soul walks with unseen stories. That is why, in Buddhism, we learn not to judge others quickly. We bow to each other, not just in respect, but in silent understanding. I see your pain. I know you carry something too. The next time you feel like life is being unfair, breathe deeply. Ask yourself not, why me, but what can I learn from this? Your suffering might be teaching you something that joy never could. Remember, karma is not a hammer. It is a mirror. It reflects, it teaches, and it waits. The more you understand this, the more peaceful you become, even in chaos. So stay kind. Stay gentle. Your actions, your thoughts, your heart, they matter more than you know. The good you do is never wasted, even if the world doesn't see it right away. The universe keeps every record. And one day, quietly, beautifully, it will bloom. Now, rest your heart. You are on the right path. Keep walking it. And let karma unfold like the morning sun, soft, slow, but certain. The nature of samsara, suffering, is built in. Sit with me, dear one. Breathe slowly. Let the noise of the world melt away for a little while. I see that your heart carries a question, like a soft whisper in a storm. Why do good people suffer? I have walked through many seasons and sat in silence with many who have cried this same question. Let me tell you something most people overlook. Suffering is not personal punishment. It is the very nature of the world we live in. This world is called samsara. Samsara is not a place outside of us. It is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. A wheel that keeps turning, lifetime after lifetime. On this wheel, joy and pain, love and loss, birth and decay, they all take turns. No one escapes it, no matter how kind or cruel they are. Now, many think that if they are good, they will be spared from bad things. But that's not how samsara works. This world is like fire. Even if you walk with care, even if you are innocent, the heat of the fire still burns. Just as fire burns wood, samsara burns beings. This doesn't mean we are helpless. It means we must wake up. Look around you. The flower blooms, so soft, so full of life. And yet, just a few days later, its petals fall. Was a flower bad? Did it deserve to wither? No. It is simply how things are. Everything that arises must pass. All things that are born will one day die. This is the nature of existence. Let me tell you a story, something very old, yet still alive. Once a young man came to the Buddha, crying with grief. His only child had died. He said, "Lord, why has this happened to me? I'm a good man. I give to the poor, I never lie, I care for all beings. Why was my son taken from me?" The Buddha did not scold him, nor did he try to quickly fix the pain. Instead, he gently told him to go to every house in the village and bring back a mustard seed from any home that had never experienced loss. The man ran with hope, but he returned empty-handed. Every house had known death, sickness, heartbreak. It was then he understood, suffering touches all. Not just the bad, not just the good, everyone. You see, we are floating in a sea of impermanence. We try to hold on to what is sweet, to keep it from slipping through our fingers. But everything changes. Nothing stays. The more we grasp, the more we suffer. Not because life is cruel, but because we misunderstand its nature. Now you may ask, Zen Master, if this is the truth, what should I do? Should I stop caring? Should I harden my heart? No, my dear. Do not close your heart. Open it even wider. Love deeply, help freely, but do not cling. That is the way of the awakened. Let me give you a small example. Have you ever watched clouds? They are soft, beautiful, and always moving. You can admire them, feel joy in their presence, but you cannot hold them. Try to grab a cloud, and you'll find only air. Life is like that. Our job is not to freeze the cloud in the sky, but to appreciate it while it floats above us. When it passes, we bow in gratitude. That is the way. So, when you suffer, do not ask, "Why me?" Instead, ask, "What is this teaching me?" When good people suffer, they often become even more compassionate. Their pain breaks the wall between them and others. They no longer look down at those who are struggling, they stand beside them. This is the hidden gift of suffering. It humbles us, softens us, and if we allow it, it awakens us. Samsara is not our enemy. It is our classroom. Each heartbreak, each illness, each loss, these are lessons. Harsh ones, yes, but powerful. In samsara, even the happiest moment has a shadow behind it. But in that shadow, we can learn the art of letting go. Do not believe that suffering means you're doing life for all. No, even the Buddha, the most enlightened one, walked through hunger, mockery, rejection, temptation, and even death. Was he not the most good-hearted of all? Did he still experience pain? Why? Because pain is part of samsara. But suffering because of pain, now that is something we can change. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is extra. We suffer when we resist what is. When we cry not just because something hurts, but because we think it shouldn't hurt. This should not be happening to me. But life doesn't follow our opinions. It follows Dharma, the way things are. Here is another little image for your heart. Imagine carrying a cup of hot tea. If you hold it gently and sip mindfully, it warms you. But if you grip it tightly, it burns your hand. Life is the same. If we hold on too tightly, expecting people, events, and even our own body to stay exactly how we want, we will burn. But if we hold life with soft hands, open to change, even pain becomes a teacher. So, to you who suffer despite being good, know this: your pain does not mean you are weak or wrong or cursed. It means you are human. And if you use that pain to look inward, to awaken your heart, you become more than just human. You become free. Do not stop being kind just because kindness feels painful sometimes. In fact, let your pain deepen your kindness. But also learn to let go of your expectations. Help, but do not expect help in return. Love, but do not demand that love lasts forever. Lie, but know that all things change. In samsara, nothing is stable. But within you, beyond samsara, there is something quiet, peaceful, untouched. The Buddha called it nirvana. You cannot reach it by avoiding pain, but by seeing through it. By understanding that this world is not supposed to make us feel safe. It is meant to wake us up. So if today you are hurt, betrayed, or broken, sit with that pain. Do not run. Breathe into it. Ask it what it has come to teach you. You may not get an answer right away, but over time, like a lotus rising from muddy waters, your understanding will bloom. That is all for now, dear one. Rest your heart. You are not alone in this world of suffering. You walk the same path as many before you, and many after you. Let this truth give you courage. Let give you peace. And remember, even in samsara, we can find moments of joy, glimpses of freedom, and the stillness of wisdom. Keep walking. Keep awakening. The path is not easy, but it is true. Merit versus misfortune, a Buddhist viewpoint. Ah, so you have come seeking answers again, my dear one. Sit comfortably, take a breath, and let's talk like old friends under a quiet tree. I can feel your confusion. You ask, why do people who do good still face bad times? What's the point of doing the right thing if it only brings pain? This question is heavy in your heart, and I hear it often, from the young and the old, from the hopeful and heartbroken. Let me tell you a story first. A monk once lived in a small village. He never harmed anyone, always shared his food, taught children, and comforted the sick. One day, he was wrongly accused of theft. He said nothing in his defense and was cast out. People wondered, how could such a good man suffer like this? But the monk, while walking alone in the forest, smiled. Why? We will return to this. Now listen carefully. In Buddhist teachings, there's a difference between punya, that is, merit or good karma, and dukkha, suffering. You may think, if I do good, I must get good things in return. And yes, in one sense, that's true. But the timing is not in your hands. Merit is like planting a seed. You may plant it today, water it with love, and yet it may not sprout tomorrow. Sometimes it blooms after a season, sometimes in another life, and sometimes, before it even blooms, a strong wind may blow away the soil. That wind, those storms, are your past misdeeds, even from long ago, blowing back into your life now. So you may be doing good today, earning beautiful merit quietly. But at the same time, you may still be facing the results of your past actions, which you don't even remember. This is not punishment. This is balance. This is law. The law of karma is not emotional like humans. It is not favor or hate. It just moves with precision. Imagine your life as a big account book. Every action is written, not by God, not by a judge, but by your own mind and body. Do good, and a light entry is made. Do harm, and a shadow is written. Over lifetimes, this book continues. Today, if you are experiencing hardship, perhaps an old shadow has come to settle. But don't worry, your light entries, your merit, are also building up. They will shine in due time. I see people lose faith when they suffer after doing good. But my child, isn't that like throwing away a tree because the fruit is still green? Have patience. Your kindness is never wasted. Even if no one sees it, the universe records it. Your merit may protect you in hidden ways, maybe saving you from even worse harm, or easing someone else's path as a result of your love. But let me also warn you gently, doing good only to get something back is not true merit. That is still a kind of business. I will help you if life helps me. This attitude carries expectation, and expectations bring disappointment. Real merit comes from clean heart. When you do good simply because it is the right thing to do, not because you want applause or reward. Remember this, some people have good fortune but no merit. They may have wealth, beauty, or fame, but they misuse it. The kind of good fortune is like a sweet fruit filled with poison. Sooner or later, it will harm them. Others have merit but still face challenges. That merit is like a hidden treasure, still growing beneath the soil. When the time is right, it will bloom into peace, protection, and true joy. One more story for you. There was a woman who cared for her sick mother for 10 years. She never complained, never asked for anything. Her relatives mocked her, saying she was wasting her youth. But years later, when her mother passed, that woman became a teacher of compassion. People came from far away just to hear her speak. Her suffering gave her a wisdom no book could offer. Her merit had ripened into something rare and beautiful. So you see, don't measure your life in days or by the praise of others. Measure it by your own peace. When you sleep at night knowing you caused no harm, when your heart feels clean despite the chaos around you, that is true success. That is real power. Now, I will give you a small reflection. Sit quietly and ask yourself, am I doing good for the sake of others or for my own image? If the answer is for others, continue. If it is for image, don't feel ashamed, just notice it. Gently shift. Let your kindness be silent, steady, and natural, like a river that flows without shouting. And remember this too. Sometimes, your suffering is not only for you. The good person who suffers in silence often becomes a light for others. Your pain may inspire someone to rise. Your story may help someone survive. You never know who is watching, learning, or healing because of your strength. So, my dear one, do not be discouraged. The road of good people is not smooth, but it is meaningful. You may not always get what you expect, but you will always become stronger, wiser, and more peaceful if you walk it with sincerity. Let your goodness be your gift to the world, not your bargain with it. What you give with love never disappears. It returns when least expected, in ways you cannot imagine. Close your eyes now. Feel your heart. You are not alone. You are building something deeper than success. You are creating peace, one kind act at a time. And the monk in the story? He smiled in the forest because he understood. The world may treat him unfairly, but the universe never will. His merit would find him, not in the courtroom, but in the quiet of his soul. That is enough for today. Walk gently. We shall meet again in the next teaching. The Bodhisattva Path. Why the good choose pain. Sit with me for a while, child. I know your heart is tired. You wonder, why do I always try to do good, and yet life keeps hurting me? You feel like giving up sometimes, don't you? You think, what is the point of being kind if pain is all I get in return? You're not alone in this thought. Many people who carry gentle hearts feel this same sadness. But let me share something very old, very deep, and very beautiful with you. The story, a path, and a truth that might open your heart in a new way. In Buddhism, there's a word, bodhisattva. It may sound big, but its meaning is simple. A bodhisattva is someone who chooses love over comfort and wisdom over escape. It is someone who has the chance to be free from pain, to reach peace, to escape this world of suffering, but they don't. They stay behind. Why? To help others, to walk with those who still cry, to carry the heavy load for others who are too weak. Yes, child, some good people suffer not because they are cursed, but because they have chosen to help carry the suffering of the world. Now you might think, but I never chose that. I didn't ask to be hurt. Yes, I understand. But sometimes, the heart chooses before the mind understands. You are a kind person, not by accident, but perhaps because you already carry the seed of the bodhisattva. You don't walk away when someone is crying. You forgive when it's hard. You love deeply, even if it hurts. All of this, child, is the silent path of the bodhisattva. You're walking it without knowing its name. Let me tell you a small story. There was once a monk who had reached a high level of peace. He could have stayed in the forest, quiet and untouched by the troubles of the world. But every day, he would walk into the nearby village. There, people would insult him, push him, even throw stones. Others asked him, "Why do you keep going back? You don't deserve this." He smiled and said, "That is why I go back, because they don't know what they do. If I leave, who will be the mirror of patience? Who will show them another way?" This is the bodhisattva path, not loud, not proud. Quiet, painful, but full of light. Some people are born to teach by example, not by words. Some are born to forgive even when they're bleeding. That might be you, dear listener. You wonder why you keep getting tested. Maybe, just maybe, it's because you can endure more than others. And not because you're weak, but because you're strong in a way that the world doesn't understand. You see, in Buddhism, we don't always measure progress by joy. Sometimes spiritual growth is hidden in pain. When you cry but still choose to love, when you're betrayed but still remain honest, you're showing the world what it has forgotten. That is real strength. That is the Bodhisattva's work. Now, I want you to look at your own lives. Think of those moments when you were kind, but the world was cruel. You didn't yell back. You didn't become bitter. You stayed soft though it hurt. Do you know how rare that is? Do you see how many choose revenge instead of compassion? You're walking a path that very few choose. and that is why it feels lonely. But remember this, the Bodhisattva is not alone. There are thousands, millions across time and space, walking beside you in silence. They may be strangers, but they are your spiritual brothers and sisters. Every time you choose kindness, even when it feels like weakness, you're standing with them. You are not failing. You are fulfilling something very deep. There is another story, a story about a man who found a wounded bird by the road. He could have walked away. Everyone else did. But he picked it up and carried it in his hands for miles to find help. He missed his own appointment. He got wet in the rain. People laughed at him. But he saved the bird. He told no one. But do you think the world didn't notice? Do you think the sky didn't see? The universe always watches such acts. Buddhism says that such karma is like a seed. It may not bloom today, but it will grow. It always grows. Sometimes we think being good should bring us rewards. But that's not why the Bodhisattva chooses goodness. It's not about rewards, it's about compassion. Imagine someone drowning in a river. Do you ask, why you pay to save them? No, you jump in because it's the right thing to do. The same is true for kindness. True goodness asks for nothing. It shines for its own sake. But yes, the world may not always appreciate it. People may take advantage. They may hurt you. But your peace does not depend on their thanks. It comes from knowing you do the right thing. That is the peace of the Bodhisattva. Sometimes, child, your suffering is not a sign of punishment. It is a sign of your hidden power. If you are weak, you wouldn't be tested this much. If you are not meant to shine, the darkness would not try to dim your light. You are being shaped, carved like a diamond in fire. Pain is not destroying you. It is revealing the strength within you. You may not see the impact of your kindness today, but someone out there, someone who watches you, learns from you, feels inspired by you, is growing because of you. They may never tell you, but they carry your life forward. That is the Bodhisattva's legacy. Quiet, invisible, but eternal. To the next time life hurts you, don't ask why me. Ask instead, what can I learn here? How can I respond with wisdom? That question turns your pain into a path. That question transforms your suffering into a teaching. And remember, child, no tear you've shed is wasted. In the eyes of the Buddha, even your sorrow is sacred. The good who suffer are not lost. They are blooming in ways this world cannot yet understand. Keep going. Don't lose your heart. You're walking the highest paths. And even if no one claps, even if no one sees, is still the most beautiful journey of all. Now close your eyes. Breathe gently. Let all the weight fall away. Let silence speak to you. You're not broken. You are becoming. That is the way of the Bodhisattva. That is your way. The role of past lives, unfinished karmic threads. Come, sit with me for a while. Let's speak quietly today about something hidden, something gentle, something most people never think about, but something that explains so much, the role of our past lives. You see, when someone says, why do bad things happen to good people? It is like asking, why is this tree bent when the seed looked healthy? We are only looking at what we can see today. But in Buddhism, we don't believe that this life is all there is. This moment is just one page in a long book, one chapter in a deep story. What happens to you now may not be the result of something you did in this lifetime. It may come from something much older, something from another time, another place, another life. Let me give you an example. Imagine a kind-hearted man who always helps others. He feeds the poor, speaks with love, and avoids hurting even an insect. Still, he suffers from great pain in his body. Doctors can't explain it clearly. He hasn't done anything wrong in this life. So why the suffering? In the eyes of the world, this feels unfair. But Buddhism says, karma is not limited to what you remember. Just because you don't remember planting the seed, doesn't mean the tree won't grow. The man may be carrying the result of a strong karmic imprint from past lives. Maybe he once hurt others deeply, and now, in this life, that energy is ripening. Now listen carefully. This does not mean he is being punished. Karma is not about revenge. It is not a judge with a hammer. Karma is simply the law of cause and effect, unfolding patiently, silently. It is like the wind. It does not hate you. It just moves according to nature. What happens to us is not personal. That's one of the hardest things to understand. The universe is not targeting you. When pain comes, don't say, "Why me?" Say instead, "Let me see what this pain is teaching me." Because in many ways, you're not the same person you were in your last life, but the energy continues. Your body changes, your name changes, your memories may be lost, but the mind stream flows on. Now, someone may ask, "Master, if I don't remember my past life, what's the point of even talking about it?" That's a good question. The answer is simple. Understanding the idea of past lives helps us drop the belief that life is unfair. It helps us trust that there is a deeper order, even if we cannot see it clearly. If you carry pain now, it does not mean you are bad. It simply means the energy is moving through you. Your job is not to fight it, but to hold it with wisdom. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds you plant, whether in this life or in many lives before, will grow when the time is right. Some grow quickly, some take years, some take lifetimes. This is why you see cruel people living comfortably sometimes. They're enjoying good karma from past actions, while their bad seeds are still asleep. But no seed is lost. None. Not yours. Not theirs. Every seed waits. So what should we do then? Give up? No, never. Instead, we must become gardeners of the present. Every act of kindness you do now, even if no one sees it, even if it brings you pain instead of thanks, it is a seed. One day, maybe not in this life, but someday, it will bloom. A smile, a gentle word, a prayer for someone who hurt you, all these are seeds. This is why the Buddha always reminded us to act with right intention. Even if you're treated unfairly, don't let that break your goodness. When you throw away your kindness, thinking, "What's the use?" you are just planting more seeds of bitterness. But when you stay kind, even in pain, you are writing a new story for your future. There's another important point. Not all suffering comes for bad karma. Sometimes, we take on pain out of compassion. In Mahayana Buddhism, the bodhisattvas choose to return again and again, not for their own benefit, but to help others. They take birth in painful lives on purpose. It's like diving into a burning house just to save someone. Not all who suffer are being punished. Some are healing the world, quietly, with love. So when you see a good person suffering, do not judge their fate as unfair. Instead, bow to their strengths. It takes great courage to carry karma with grace. It takes a deep heart to be gentle even when life is not. There's a Zen story of a monk who was blamed for a child that wasn't his. The villagers hated him. Still, he said only, "Is that so?" He raised the child with care. Years later, the truth came out. The mother confessed she had lied. The monk simply said again, "Is that so?" He gave the child back to her. He neither fought praise nor insult. Why? Because he understood that life moves with karma, and it is best to flow like a river, not fight like a rock. This kind of peace does not come from forgetting suffering. It comes from seeing through it. When you understand that your suffering may be an old debt being paid, it becomes lighter. You no longer ask, "Why me?" but rather, "How can I grow through this?" My dear listener, your pain is not a punishment. Your struggles are not a sign that you are wrong or unworthy. You may be carrying old karma bravely, and in doing so, you may be finishing a chapter of pain so that future lives can be free. Stay kind. Stay gentle. Keep planting good seeds. That is all you need to do. And one day, whether in this life or the next, you will walk through a garden of peace that you planted in your darkest hour. Let's keep walking this path together. Quietly, gently, with wisdom. Goodness without wisdom, a hidden cause of pain. Imagine a young man who wakes up every day determined to be kind to everyone he meets. He gives food to the hungry, helps neighbors with their problems, and listens patiently to friends' troubles. He is genuinely good, but something strange happens. Despite all his kindness, he feels tired, empty, even hurt. People take advantage of him, or he feels unseen and unappreciated. Why does this happen? This is the story of many who try their best to be good, but still suffer deeply. They think being kind means always saying yes, never setting boundaries, or sacrificing their own needs for others. At first glance, this seems noble. Yet, from a deeper Buddhist view, this is where pain can hide goodness without wisdom. What is wisdom? In Buddhism, wisdom is not just about knowledge or book learning. It is a clear seeing of reality, understanding things as they truly are, without illusion or confusion. Wisdom sees the cause and effect of actions, the nature of the mind, and the way life flows. Without wisdom, even the kindest actions may lead to suffering. The young man's kindness is sincere, but he lacks wisdom about himself and others. He does not realize that if he always gives without knowing when to say no, he risks losing his own balance. When he ignores his limits, his kindness becomes a burden, and pain arises. This is like a tree that gives shade to others but is slowly losing its roots because it never takes time to nourish itself. Buddhism teaches the middle way, the path between self-indulgence and self-denial. True goodness means caring for others and for oneself wisely. When kindness ignores the self, it creates hidden suffering. When kindness is paired with wisdom, it becomes compassionate strength, not weakness. Another reason why goodness without wisdom causes pain is because it can be attached to ideas of being good or right. The young man believes that if he is truly good, he must always be generous and patient. He fears losing his image as a kind person. This fear is a form of ego, the self that clings to how others see us. It traps kindness into patterns that can be unhealthy. This ego attachment also leads to disappointment and anger. When people do not respond to his kindness as expected, he feels betrayed. He may think, I was good to them, so they should treat me well. But life is not a simple exchange. Other people's actions are influenced by their own causes and conditions, not our expectations. The Buddha said that attachment is the root of suffering. When kindness is attached to reward, recognition, or identity, it loses its purity. Goodness then becomes a mask or a weapon, rather than a natural flow of compassion. How can one avoid this hidden pain? The Zen Master would say, first, see clearly your own heart. Be honest with yourself about your needs and limits. Loving others does not mean forgetting yourself. Caring for yourself is not selfish but necessary. Without a healthy self, you cannot genuinely help others. Second, practice kindness without expectation. This does not mean being a doormat. It means giving freely, without expecting thanks, praise, or return. This frees your heart from disappointment and allows your kindness to be pure. Third, understand impermanence. People change. Situations change. Your kindness may not be appreciated now, but the seeds you plant will grow in their own time. Wisdom knows this flow and does not rush or cling. Finally, cultivate mindfulness, the gentle awareness of each moment. When you feel tired or hurt, notice it without judgment. Mindfulness teaches you to care for your pain as you care for others' suffering. This creates balance and resilience. There is a story in Zen about a monk who helped everyone but never rested. One day, he collapsed from exhaustion. His teacher said, "You pour from an empty cup. Fill yourself first." This simple lesson reminds us that kindness must be grounded in wisdom and self-care. When goodness is mixed with wisdom, it shines like a clear lamp in the darkness. It guides both the giver and receiver towards peace. When it lacks wisdom, it can blind us to our limits and cause silent suffering. So if you feel pain despite your kindness, do not blame yourself. Instead, look deeply. Are you kind to yourself as well? Are you free from expectations? Do you see clearly when to say yes and when to say no? Buddhism invites us to practice kindness as a whole way of life, a harmony of heart and mind. This balance protects us from the hidden pain of goodness without wisdom. As you walk your path, remember, true kindness is a gift, but wisdom is the hand that holds the gift carefully. Together, they create a life of true compassion and peace. The ego of goodness, attachment in disguise. Listen closely, friend. Sometimes, even a kindest heart can walk unknowingly into a trap. It is a trap not set by others, but woven quietly by the mind itself. This trap is the ego, not the loud, boastful ego you may think of, but a subtle, hidden ego that can live inside goodness. Yes, even goodness. Many think that being good means always putting others first, always doing the right thing, always helping. And that is true, to a point. But if a person's goodness comes with expectations, even silent ones, that is where trouble begins. When kindness is done hoping for recognition, respect, or love, it becomes tied to the ego. When goodness becomes a way to feel important or better than others, it is no longer pure. Imagine a clear, calm lake. If you threw a stone into it, ripples spread out and disturb the peace. The stone is the ego inside goodness, hidden, but causing ripples of attachment and suffering. These ripples cloud the clear water of the mind. This ego inside goodness can lead a person to feel hurt deeply when others do not appreciate them. I did so much for them, the mind says, why do they not care? This is the ego speaking, expecting something in return. But kindness given with true freedom expects nothing back. It is like a tree that gives shade, not asking for thanks. Many who suffer despite their kindness have this hidden attachment. They don't see it because it feels so natural to want to be valued. But Buddhism teaches that attachment, even to goodness itself, binds us to suffering. To understand this, we must look deeper into what attachment means. Attachment is craving. It is clinging tightly to how we think things should be. When we say, because I am good, I deserve respect, this is craving respect. It is a small, silent demand made by the ego. The problem is not with goodness, but with how the mind clings to the idea of goodness. It creates a story. I am good, so others must treat me well. When the world doesn't follow this story, the mind feels broken, sad, angry. A wise Zen master once said, if you hold tightly to the candle, you burn your fingers. Holding tightly to the idea of being good and expecting something back is like holding the candle too close. It burns. So how do we let go of this hidden ego? How we be good without losing ourselves? First, we start by watching the mind carefully. When you do something kind, ask yourself quietly, am I doing this to truly help or to feel good about myself? This question is not to judge, but to understand. Then, practice giving with no strings attached. Give kindness as freely as the sun gives light, without asking who notices. It is a hard practice, but slowly it softens the grip of the ego. Another step is to accept that not everyone will see or value your kindness. This is not a reflection on your goodness, but a fact of life. Some are blind, some are caught in their own struggles. Their blindness is not your fault. Buddha taught that our actions are like seeds planted in the soil of the universe. Some seeds take time to grow. Some are eaten by birds or fall on rocky ground. We do not control the harvest, only the planting. When kindness is done without ego, it becomes its own reward. There is peace in this. The mind rests. There is no struggle between expectation and reality. But if the ego is involved, each act of kindness becomes a weight carried secretly. The heart may say, I am good, but underneath, the mind whispers, I want to be seen as good. This secret craving is the cause of much suffering. It is an invisible chain. In meditation, one learns to observe these cravings like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to chase them or push them away. Simply notice and let them go. When the ego softens, kindness shines naturally, like a flower blooming without force. This is the true path of goodness, simple, humble, free. Remember, the Buddha did not seek praise for his compassion. He acted out of deep wisdom and love for all beings, without attachment. So when you feel hurt because your kindness is ignored or misunderstood, look inside gently. See if the ego of goodness is holding you tight. This is not to blame yourself, but to awaken your awareness. From this awareness, you will find freedom. Freedom to be kind not for reward, but because kindness is your nature. The river does not ask who drinks its water. It flows naturally, giving life without demand. Be like the river. Let go of the hidden ego. Let kindness flow freely, and you will find peace even in a world that seems unfair. This is the teaching for those who suffer despite their goodness. It is not your kindness that causes pain, it is the hidden attachment to it. When you free yourself from this attachment, your kindness becomes light. It no longer weighs down your heart. Instead, it lifts you like a bird taking flight in the clear sky. Be patient on this path. The ego does not dissolve overnight. It is a quiet work of the heart and mind. Meditate daily, observe your thoughts, and practice giving without expecting. With time, the chains fall away. Your suffering lessens, and your kindness shines brighter than ever. This is the deepest wisdom of Buddhism about why good people suffer. Not because they are bad or unlucky, but because they carry invisible burdens created by the ego. When you understand this, you understand yourself better. And understanding is the first step toward true freedom. So, walk gently on your path of kindness. Walk without chains. Walk as a free soul, a true light in the world. Lessons from the life of Buddha, trials of the enlightened. Come, sit with me, and let us speak from heart to heart. You ask, why do bad things happen to good people? It's a question as old as suffering itself. A question even the wisest minds struggle to answer. But before we go into deep waters, let me tell you a story, not of a stranger, but of the enlightened one himself. Yes, even the Buddha faced pain, loss, betrayal, and great sorrow. So if you suffer, you're not alone. You walk a path even the Buddha once walked. Let me take you back in time. Before he was the Buddha, he was Prince Siddhartha, born in luxury, comfort, and protection. His father shielded him from every side of pain. No one was allowed to speak of death. No one was to mention illness. Aging was hidden. But truth, you see, has its own way of reaching us. One day, Siddhartha left the palace, and he saw what was always there: an old man, a sick man, and a dead man. In just moments, his world turned upside down. And what did he do? Did he cry out, "Why me?" Did he say, "I'm a prince, I don't deserve this truth"? No. He took a deep breath, turned away from the palace, and walked into the unknown. He gave up everything: his title, his riches, his wife, his newborn son. Not because he didn't love them, but because he loved truth more. Think of the pain he must have felt. The ache of leaving behind a child's innocent face. That's not a joy. It's heartbreak. Even the Buddha's path began with deep suffering. Now listen carefully. After years of wandering, he tried all the extreme paths. He starved himself nearly to death, thinking it would lead to awakening. But hunger didn't free him. It only brought weakness. And so he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, alone, silent, facing all his inner demons. Mara, the tempter, came, not with swords but with fear, doubt, and illusion. Mara whispered, "Who do you think you are? You'll fail. You're nothing." Have you heard those voices too? They come when you're at your lowest, don't they? Even the Buddha heard them. But he didn't run. He didn't hide. He just sat and watched those voices arise and pass. And in that silence, that deep stillness, he touched the earth and said, "I am here." That was his answer to the suffering. Not escape, not rejection, but presence. That's what opened the door to enlightenment. But don't think his suffering ended there. Even after awakening, he was insulted, threatened, misunderstood. Some accused him of terrible things. Others tried to kill him. Once, his cousin Devdatta, driven by jealousy, tried to destroy him. He rolled a boulder down a hill toward the Buddha. It missed, but a piece of it hit the Buddha's foot. Blood came. Yes, even the enlightened one bled. Why do I tell you this? Because many think goodness is a shield against pain. But even the purest heart walks through fire. The Buddha did not avoid suffering. He understood it. He taught us not how to run from it, but how to face it with wisdom, courage, and compassion. Let us not forget his disciple, the Kali. He was deeply devoted to the Buddha, but sick and weak in body. One day he cried out in despair, "Lord, I can no longer see you with these eyes." The Buddha gently said, "He who sees the Dhamma sees me." A reminder that truth isn't always something the eyes can grasp. Sometimes, suffering blinds us, but even then, truth remains. And what about the woman Kisagadami? She came to the Buddha holding her dead child, begging him to bring the boy back to life. Her pain was like fire. The Buddha said, "Bring me a mustard seed from a house that has never known death." She searched all day but found no such house. Finally, she understood, death touches every home. Her personal grief became a doorway to universal truth. These stories are not ancient myths. They are mirrors. In every betrayal, every loss, every illness, the Buddha left footprints for us. His life whispers, "Yes, you will hurt, but you can rise through that hurt." When bad things happen to good people, It's not because goodness is weak, it's because life is a great teacher. And often, the most powerful lessons come through suffering, but only if we stay open. In Buddhism, suffering is not punishment. It is a message. Sometimes, the message is, let go. Sometimes it is be still. Sometimes, it says, look deeper. When we suffer, we are invited to understand life, not just survive it. Look again at the Buddha. He faced loss, hardship, even death with a calm mind and a kind heart. That is not weakness. That is strength that comes from awakening. You, too, can awaken. You, too, can walk this path. When life seems unfair, remember the Buddha's lives. He never promised that good people wouldn't suffer. He promised that suffering could be transformed, not into happiness always, but into peace, wisdom, and freedom from the chains of reaction. So when life breaks your heart, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is life teaching me? Don't close your heart. Open it. Let ache. Let feel. And let it grow. Because, my dear one, it is not about escaping the storm. It's about learning how to be still within it. Even the Buddha had wounds. But he turned them into windows. Windows through which millions have seen the light. This is the message of Part 9. The suffering of good people is not a sign of failure. It is often the soil in which awakening takes root. Be patient. Be gentle with yourselves. And trust that, like the Buddha, your pain too can lead you to peace. When you walk with truth, you are never walking alone. So you have come this far on the path. You have listened, you have watched, you have felt. And still, the question lingers in your heart like an old ache. Why isn't life fair? Let me sit beside you, child. Let the winds calm around us. Let me tell you, not from books, not from thoughts, but from silence, soft and deep as the evening sky. You see, the heart breaks not because life is cruel, it breaks because the heart expects fairness. We grow up hearing, be good, and good things will happen. But life is not a vending machine. You don't insert kindness and get peace. You don't plant love and always receive love back. Sometimes you plant warmth, and what comes is cold silence. And that silence pierces deeper than a sword. So then, what do? Do we stop being good? Do we close the heart, shut the doors, and say, never again? No, that is not the way. That is the way of bitterness. And bitterness is the heaviest chain a soul can wear. Instead, I will tell you this. Let go of the idea that life owes you anything. Let go of the story that says, I did right so I deserve right. In the Dharma, we do not practice goodness for results. We practice it because it is our nature, our deepest truth. A rose does not bloom because it hopes to be praised. It blooms because it is a rose. And it withers not because it has failed, but because all things in this world must wither. Do you understand now? When we cling to the idea of fairness, we resist what is. We argue with the flow of the universe. But the river does not change course just because we cry. The rain does not stop falling because we are kind. Even the Buddha, the awakened one, was betrayed, misunderstood, and rejected. He was a light in the darkness, and yet the world did not always welcome him. So we must let go, not of compassion, not of truth, but of the illusion that justice is guaranteed in this lifetime. In Buddhism, we call this impermanence, anicca. All things rise and fall. Fortune, suffering, friendship, health, love, all are visitors, not residents. They come, they stay a while, and then they go. You may say, but Master, if everything is impermanent, then what's the point? But that is the beauty. Because things are impermanent, they are precious. The smile of a child, the hand of a friend, the breath you take right now, none will last forever. That is why they matter now. That is why goodness must be lived now. Not because it guarantees rewards, but because it is the one thing that can bring you peace, even as the world turns its back. When bad things happen to good people, the pain is real. Do not pretend otherwise. Buddhism is not about suppressing pain. It is about seeing it clearly and realizing that pain, too, is a wave. And no wave stays forever. You see, fairness is a mental concept, a map, but life is the terrain. And the terrain does not always follow the map. Sometimes, the kindest person gets the harshest blow. Sometimes, the cruel live long and the good die young. This is not justice, but it is nature. What we must cultivate is not control, but clarity. Not fairness, but freedom from expectation. Do not walk through life holding a measuring scale in your hand, comparing your suffering to another's joy. This is poison. It will shrink your heart. Instead, return to the center. Sit with your suffering. Say to it gently, I see you. I know you are here, but you do not define me. Let it pass through you like wind through an open window. Let me tell you a little story. A monk once asked the Buddha, why do bad things happen to those who do good? The Buddha smiled and said, imagine two seeds. One is buried in soft, rich soil. The other in hard, dry earth. The one in soft soil grows quickly, beautifully. The one in dry ground struggles. But both are becoming trees. The struggle does not make one tree less valuable than the other. This is your life. Your kindness is the seed. But your karma, the soil, is different from another's. What you suffer now may be burning off lifetimes of darkness. What you lose now may be protecting you from future pain. What feels unfair now may be the greatest lesson your soul needs. When we let go of fairness, we stop asking why me and start asking what now. What now can I learn? What now can I release? What now can I offer? And that is freedom. You're not a victim of the world. You are a wave in the ocean of life. Rise when it lifts you, fall when it sinks you. But always know, you are part of something vast and deep and mysterious. Let us stop chasing fairness. Let us start embodying compassion. Let us walk this life like the Buddha did, not avoiding pain, but transforming it into wisdom. When someone hurts you and you do not hurt them back, that is strength. When the world breaks your heart and you keep loving, that is power. And when you stop needing fairness to feel peace, you have found true liberation. So rest your heart now. Let's soften. Breathe in this moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow, just now. Because right now, there is no fairness or unfairness. There's only this breath. And that breath is enough. That is all you need. Let go and be free. Transforming suffering, turning pain into wisdom. Come closer, my dear one. Sit down. Take a deep breath. Let the noise of the world fall behind you. Let's talk about something deep today. Something that lives inside your heart, even when you try to hide it. Suffering. Yes, that quiet pain you carry. The one that wakes you up at night. The one that makes your chest feel heavy when no one's watching. That pain too has a voice. And today, we will listen to it. Not to feel more hurt, but to understand it. Because only when we understand our suffering can we begin to transform it into something beautiful, something like wisdom. You might wonder, how can pain become wisdom? It sounds strange at first, but let me tell you a small story. A student once asked me, Master, why does life break our hearts again and again? I looked at him gently and said, because the broken heart is where light enters. And once the light enters, wisdom begins to grow. You see, suffering is not the enemy. It is the teacher we never asked for, but often need the most. When things are easy, we grow comfortable. But when life becomes difficult, when someone leaves, when trust is broken, when health fails, then something inside us begins to wake up. A quiet awareness begins to rise. That awareness is the seed of wisdom. In Buddhism, we call suffering dukkha. It means more than just pain. It includes disappointment, restlessness, and even the feeling that something is always missing. But Buddhism never says suffering is meaningless. On the contrary, it tells us suffering is the very ground where wisdom can grow, if we are patient enough to learn. Let me explain this more simply. Think of a lotus flower. It grows in muddy water, not in clean rivers. The mud is thick and dirty, but still, the lotus rises out of it, untouched and beautiful. Your pain, your heartbreak, your losses, they are the mud. And you're the lotus. You can rise from all without letting it stain you. But this doesn't happen in one day. When we suffer, our first thought is usually, why me? And that's okay. It's human. But slowly, Buddhism asks us to move from why me to what can I learn? This small shift in thought is where transformation begins. Because now, instead of fighting the pain, we are listening to it. And when we listen deeply, pain reveals truths we would never see otherwise. For example, losing a friend may teach us not only how fragile relationships are, but also how deeply we care. A health crisis may show us the value of the present moment, how lucky we are to simply breathe without pain. Being betrayed may sharpen our understanding of trust and teach us the difference between blind giving and wise compassion. These lessons are not taught in books. They are only found in the middle of suffering. Some people ask, Master, why should I keep being good if life keeps hurting me? I tell them, because your goodness is not for the world to reward. It is for your soul to remain clean. When we act with kindness, even when life is cruel, we protect our own heart from turning bitter. This is also wisdom, knowing that how we respond to pain shapes who we become. Let me tell you what happens when suffering is not transformed. It turns into anger, or self-pity, or numbness. We close our hearts. We stop trusting. We carry wounds like armor. But no armor can protect the heart forever. Sooner or later, it becomes too heavy, and the world begins to feel cold. But when we face our pain gently, without hatred, it begins to soften. We start to see that others, too, are suffering in their own silent ways. And suddenly, something miraculous happens. Compassion is born. Yes, compassion. True compassion does not come from reading scriptures or following rules. It comes when we suffer and still choose to keep our heart open. It comes when we cry and still choose to be kind. It comes when we fall but do not lose faith in life. In this way, your suffering becomes your teacher, your light, your path. Now you may ask, Master, how do I transform pain when it feels unbearable? My answer is not complex. It begins with one breath. Just one. When pain feels too heavy, don't try to fix it or understand it all at once. Just sit with it. Breathe. Feel it without judgment. In time, the pain will reveal its lesson, and you will not be the same person again, but you will be wiser. This is not just theory. Look at the Buddha himself. Before he became the awakened one, he suffered deeply. He saw death, sickness, old age. He gave up everything to seek answers. And even after his awakening, he still experienced loss and hardship. But he used that pain, not to hate the world, but to help it. That is what transformation means. Not escaping pain, but using it to grow deeper roots. You too can do this. You don't have to be a monk. You don't need a robe. You just need willingness. The small, honest desire to look at your suffering and ask, what is this trying to teach me? And slowly, like a candle lighting a dark room, you'll begin to see. You'll see that every scar has a story. Every tear was a step forward. Every loss shaped your strength. Every moment of pain planted something inside you that no one can take away. And that something is wisdom. So, my dear listener, don't hide from your suffering. Sit with it. Talk to it. Learn from it. And above all, trust that you're not alone. Every wise soul has walked through fire before they became light. Let your suffering be your path, not your prison. Let it teach you what joy never could. Let it make you soft, not hard. Let it turn your silence into peace. And one day, you will look back and say, that pain, it didn't destroy me. It made me who I am. Now close your eyes, breathe again, and remember this. In the heart of suffering, the seed of awakening is already waiting. It always has been. Why it all makes sense, the peace behind the pain. Sit with me for a while, dear one. Let's talk. Not as teacher and student, but as two travelers resting on the same path. You've carried this question in your heart for a long time. Why do bad things happen to good people? You've walked through sorrow, betrayal, confusion, and maybe even anger. And after all these parts we've walked through together, it's time now to look at the full picture, gently with soft eyes. Let me tell you this first. Life is not meant to make perfect sense from the outside. If you look at only through the eyes of logic, you will always see unfairness. But when you look at it with the eyes of wisdom, from the heart, then even pain starts to glow with meaning. You may ask, but Master, I did everything right. I was honest. I gave love. I stood by others. Why did life hurt me so much? And I will smile, not because I don't care, but because I know something deeper. I know that when a person still asks this question, it means their heart is alive. The fact that you feel unfairness is proof that your goodness still lives, even after all that pain. In this final part, I will not give you more theories. I will show you the peace that arises after all the pain. I want you to see how everything you've been through has prepared you, not for loss, but for awakening. Let's begin with a story. There was once a potter who lived in a small village. He spent years collecting the finest clay, shaping it with care, drying it with patience. But when he put in the fire, the pot cracked. Again and again, no matter how carefully he worked, some pots would break in the fire. One day a traveler asked him, "Why do you still continue, knowing your pots may break?" The potter replied, "Because only the ones that pass through the fire become strong enough to hold water. You too are such a vessel. The fire of life does not destroy you. It shapes you. It removes the weak parts. It tests your balance. It asks, can you hold your center, even when nothing outside makes sense?" Now, let's return to the question, why do bad things happen to good people? From the Buddhist path, we learn this. Life is not about reward and punishment. Life is about growth, realization, and letting go. Goodness is not a shield against suffering. It is a path through suffering. Often, it is the kindest souls who are chosen by life to carry the deepest pains, not because they deserve it, but because they can transform it. Just as the lotus grows from the mud, you too have grown from places where others would have broken. You didn't run away. You felt every cut, every loss, every moment of being unseen. And still, here you are, alive, listening, breathing. You see, bad things don't happen because you are good. They happen despite your goodness. And sometimes, they happen for your goodness to rise even higher. But go deeper. The universe does not think in terms of fairness. It moves through cause and effect, karma. But karma is not instant. A seed does not become a tree in one night. Similarly, your kindness, your silence, your patience, all these are seeds. Maybe they won't bloom in the place you planted them. Maybe they'll bloom far later or in another life. But bloom they will. And those who hurt others, who rise by stepping on others, yes, they may seem to succeed, but their peace is hollow. You cannot see their nights, their fear, their regrets. Life may give them outer comfort, but it does not give them inner rest. And without peace inside, even a golden palace feels like a prison. You, on the other hand, may feel that life forgot you. But what if I told you that life is building something inside you that no one can steal? That every hardship has polished a part of your soul? That the love you gave, even when it was not returned, was never wasted? That your tears watered your own awakening? When you see this, truly see it, not just with the mind but with the heart, then peace begins to arise. Not the peace of things being easy, but the peace of knowing they don't need to be. The peace that says, I can walk this road, even if it's not fair, because I am no longer walking for reward. I am walking because it is right. Let me ask you a question now. When you helped someone who didn't thank you, did that act lose its value? No. The kindness is complete in itself. A flower does not bloom only when someone admires it. It blooms because blooming is its nature. Be like that flower. Bloom, even when the world forgets to look. The real question is not, why did this happen to me? The real question is, what did this awaken in me? If it gave you more softness, more awareness, more wisdom, then perhaps, just perhaps, it was not punishment but a deeper gift in disguise. Now, let us sit quietly for a moment. Feel your breath. Feel your heart. Think of all the pain you've carried, not with bitterness, but with pride. You survived. You grew. You stayed kind. That is your strength. That is your real story. Not what happened to you, but how you stayed beautiful inside, even when the world gave you every reason not to. This is the final teaching. Bad things may happen, but they cannot destroy a good soul. They can test it, challenge it, reshape it. But in the end, the good soul becomes unshakable, not because it avoids suffering, but because it learns how to transform it. You're not weak. You're not forgotten. You're becoming something rare. And before I let you go, I ask with honesty, if this journey touched your heart, if these words helped you feel seen, then please give back in your own quiet way. There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your small act of support helps this path reach others who sit alone with pain, waiting for a light. Be that light for someone else, just as you found one here. Our time together ends here, but your path continues. Walk it with grace. Walk it with trust. You now know, even when bad things happen to good people, there's always something beautiful waiting to rise. Stay kind. Stay awake. And when it hurts, breathe, smile, and remember, you are not alone. Not now. Not ever.